podcast, everyone. This is my first passage ever, like to another island. I don't know if I can count this as a sail across an ocean, but halfway across an ocean. We actually, when we sailed to Cartagena, we motored most of the way, but that distance was shorter than it would be to cross over to Africa anyways. But it was still along the coast, and you can still see the coast, mostly because of the mountains. But we're gonna keep up sailing like this until we reach Ibiza. So not long from now it will only be horizon, and it's sinking in. It's a bit terrifying, really. We've lost cell phone connection now, and soon we're losing land connection, and then everything around us will be ocean. And this and the autopilot is what is keeping us in the right direction. It's really cool. I don't feel like you don't get that feeling through a YouTube video, but it's really amazing. It's so weird how hot it is right now. Or I've gotten really used to the heat, but it's blowing, like, obviously a lot because we're sailing in 6 knots, and I'm sitting here in a t-shirt and shorts and find myself really hot, and the sun is almost down. It's something else than Norway, that's for sure. There's Ibiza, and there's an island beside Ibiza where we're going to, and there is no wind. We've been motoring for 3 hours, and then there was a little hint of wind, but now it's dead again. We did go all the way that we could see the island before starting the engine, so we did almost the entire passage without engine. And but I'm in no hurry. Okay guys, right now we're hoping to get into a lagoon. As you can see here, the entrance is not that clearly marked, and it says, like here it says 0.5 meters, now or 4. And I believe that's about how long we stick down when the keel is up. Because we have a lifting keel, we might be able to get into this lagoon. That's our hope. If not, we're gonna anchor outside. But that's kind of what we've been hoping for on this island beside Ibiza, to stay there some days and just not have to deal with the swells and just explore the island. So we're heading for there now, and we're gonna see if we make it.
Du ser merkene.
Ja. Skal jeg ta høyre på den?
Du skal i midten av dem, har jeg sagt.
Okay.
As you guys can see, it's already really shallow, and it's gonna become even more shallow. So I wasn't really sure if I was gonna make it, but I really wanted to try. This entire time I'm trying to hold as slow a speed as possible, but because of the currents and the winds, you have to have some speed to keep steering. But just in case, if I were gonna crash, I wouldn't damage the boat too much.
Ja, det var mer til babord, Marius.
Babord?
Ja, mer til babord. Så i midten av vi på tårnet hele veien. Nå må du litt til styrbord igjen. Du må rette opp. Styrbord! Styrbord! Du må rette opp!
Okay.
Du skal holde deg i midten av pålene.
It sounds pretty extreme, but I'm very lucky that I had those two up front to see what was going on, as in the cockpit it was basically impossible for me to see what was going on under the water.
Ser det gjort nok ut?
Ja, jeg tror det går akkurat. Ja, men du driver litt mot babord her. Ta litt styrbord.
Styrbord, ok. Babo.
Nei, du må legge over andre veien, så går du vel inn. Se, der skal du. Ser du de stengene der borte som du skal mellom?
Ja.
Ja.
Jeg skal til Babo etter hvert.
Ja. Har du ikke styrefart?
Jeg skal lage litt snart.
Ja. Og så med en gang du kommer igjennom, må du legge deg til styrbord.
Ja.
Du driver veldig til babord.
Ja, jeg kan det. Det var veldig mye strøm her.
Ja. Får gassa på? Jeg tror du kan gasse på litt grann nå, ja.
Hæ?
Tror du bør gi litt gass nå, så rett opp.
Jeg gir veldig mye gass.
Ok. Sånn. Tror egentlig det er greit, det. Ja, nå prøver jeg ikke å krasje i noen andre båter. Det er noen steiner der, men jeg tror ikke det er så farlig. Nei. Nå prøver jeg å ikke krasje. Ser du den båten der?
Ja, han kan passe seg selvfølgelig.
Vi har vikeplikt. Vi har vikeplikt.
Hæ?
Sitter du fortsatt fast?
Ja, men... Ja. It's really nice on this island. It's green. Way more green than in mainland Spain. I've just been for a walk, the other two is at the restaurant, and it feels really quiet here. We're on the island beside Ibiza, and it seems like it's kind of a rich island. It's like, it seems like this is like where the main bulk of the island lies, and here is just a lot of boats. It seems like a lot of these are abundant. I can say the word, you know what I mean. But there is a lot of pretty boats here. But I guess we could just take our buoy and just sit there, and that seems like why there are so many boats that is just left here, because no one pays to be here. We hit a sandbank on the way in here, but it don't really matter because it's sand and I didn't drive fast. I'm really glad I have a lifting keel. Really nice to get into places like this and to basically be able to beach the boat and go out in the water, and it's really cool. I'm looking forward to maybe try beaching it sometimes as well. Maybe I'll have to wait to get to Norway to do that, because here there are often just open coast and you can't beach the boat in swells, because then you damage the boat by they're constantly hitting waves. But if you're in a lagoon like here, you could, but here I don't need to because it's buoys and anchorages and stuff. There's a big part of me which longs for a bit more solitude. Living with people constantly, you kind of get to know yourself more this way, because I've always thought of myself like a really outgoing person which really want to be with people all the time, but it kind of depends who you're with as well, and if they have common interests and stuff and you have common things to talk about. But the reason I'm so much alone is like, or not alone, but like when we get to harbor I often take walks alone and stuff, is I'm really a nature guy. I don't like being alone in that sense, but the feeling of solitude, like in our modern culture, loneliness and solitude is like, everyone thinks alone means being lonely, it feels like, but there is something really deep and nice about solitude. which is not loneliness, but it means being alone, but alone in that sense that you're completely into yourself, away from people, and like you can just take in your own world. And you can't do that in a city. I can't. I just get overwhelmed. And in a city, if I'm alone in a city, I can feel lonely. But the solitude which comes from being deep in nature or far out on the sea, it's amazing. I really like the night watches when I'm sitting up alone, listening to an audiobook or music, seeing the entire sky, stars. Yeah, yesterday when we did the passage over here, there was no moon and we were far from land, like we couldn't see land anywhere. And the stars, I'm only filming with a GoPro so I couldn't film it, but it was amazing. Almost like you see on those where you can see the Milky Way. I could trace where the Milky Way was and stuff. It was amazing. I've never seen anything like that. We are now finally heading towards Ibiza. We've been on this island of Formentera for a couple of days now, chilling in the lagoon. We just sailed straight past Ibiza when we got here, but now we are actually going to visit Ibiza. We're going to win the regatta. We've been chasing this catamaran now for 5 to 10 minutes, and we are closing in. And we have reefed our Genoa as well, because there are sometimes coming gusts, but we're still gonna take it. People are rich in Ibiza. We're taking it now, but I cheated a bit. I took out all the Genoa just to do it. Okay guys, it's about time that I told you. Originally, Astrid was going to stay with me all year, but we both really found out that it wasn't working out, so she flew home with the other crew member, which means now I'm alone on this boat. And at start it was really terrifying and stressful, because this boat is in no way ready to be single-handed. They just left today, but now that I've thought it through, and like my plan from the beginning was, I remember, was to sail it alone, and that shouldn't be a problem. Only that things constantly break, and that's really scary if you're alone. But now that I've got this place all to myself, I'm just going to relax in this bay for a week, actually, just having a vacation. And I'm gonna tidy it a bit as well. And then just make the boat totally ready to be single-handed, make a system for everything, and just make sure everything is really properly in order before I leave. The wind right now is blowing from the south, and it will continue like this for some days, and then it will be completely silent. So I will be safe at this bay for weeks, and I've started contacting lots of new crew. I've had two interviews already, or interviews. We've talked. They seem really keen. I'm really keen to have them, and they are coming. There are lots more I'm going to talk with, so things seems like it's going to work out. But before, it's about a month before the first crew arrives. But my friend is actually coming down in like 2 or 3 weeks,
So then I will be sailing with him over to Sardinia, and then I will single-hand my way to Menorca first. So that's the plan now, anyways. Yeah, it's been a pretty low moral for the past couple of weeks, and I'm pretty happy to be alone right now. Actually, it's going to be really nice to have some weeks to myself now, and just yeah, I'm in Ibiza now. It's a lot of trees. It looks really nice. I'm going to tidy a bit. Then I think I'm going to shore. Because I've had a lot of really non-energy to film the past couple of almost weeks, really. So it's been really very little footage. But now I've been buying. This is what you eat, because the fridge is taking so much power, and the solar panels are not providing nearly enough for the fridge. And I prefer autopilot and navigation systems over a fridge. So don't feel bad for me that I'm drinking water at 30 degrees, because the room temperature is over 30 degrees. But beans is actually a really nice source of nutrients, really cheap, really, like, because you don't have meat, that is a really good option for making that meat feel. And then you just use a lot of spices, and then it will be really good. This is actually way cheaper in Norway. Actually, like, Norway is known for being a really expensive country. Try the island of Formentera besides Ibiza. It's insane. And then Ibiza is basically Norwegian prices. But Spain is really cheap for food. And I like these beans in tomato sauce, because then you basically just add some spaghetti and maybe some onions and stuff, and you have good spaghetti. Maize, we call it maize in Norway. Really nice. And then I'm gonna try this one. I have bought some fresh stuff. In Norway we eat a lot of bread, but here it seems like baguettes is all the rage, and it's really nice with baguettes, so I understand them. In Norway baguette is way too expensive, so we don't buy it, but here it's really cheap. So I'm going to miss the baguettes, because there are good baguettes here. Yeah, and I also bought not a lot of water, because it was really expensive. It's 2 euros per water bottle, so that means I've used 10 euros for 25 liters of water. And I don't know if I've told you, but the water in there, like in the water tanks, 3 o'clock in the morning, one of the hose loosened, and the water pump just pumped all the water out into the bilges, so I had to empty out the bilges of fresh water, which I'm also going to do. I have a lot of stuff to do, but it's also nice to not stress about doing things. It's like, because this entire trip it's been a lot of adventure, but also really stressful, because it was the first harbor I stayed in, it was 30 euros a night, and I had paid out June, so we had 15 days to make the boat sail ready. Then we had 5 days on land to make everything ready, which cost a lot. And then stuff broke, it was stressful, crew had to leave, crew had to be picked up. We constantly just went going. The heat was extreme. The alternator situation, everything, it was just so much. And then we had to head for Ibiza to get away from the heat, and then the crew left, and now I'm anchored here, and I'm kind of in heaven in some point. I'm anchored in crystal blue water. I can see straight through the water. It's hot. It's free to stay at anchor, obviously. It's a good anchorage, and I'm just gonna take the time to relax and just try to be bored, really. I'm missing being bored. I want to be bored again, and when I start being bored, I can continue making crazy plans. So that's the plan now.